Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Football Podcast. I'm David Medina, your host, and this is episode 1 of 2 of this mini podcast series. In this series, I'll talk all about everything football, mainly the NFL and its offseason, because there has been a lot of offseason moves so far. So let's get right into it. Today's date is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. And that means the NFL draft is tomorrow. So there's a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to get through all of it, and we're even going to talk about the draft. To kick things off, let's start off with the brand new uniforms for a few teams. A few teams decided to update their look for this upcoming season. And to be honest, some of them nailed it, some of them did not. One of the teams that I think nailed it is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns going back to a classic look with the brown unis, with the all-white numbers, no more shading of the numbers, which I was not really a fan of. So I like this classic look that the Browns are going back to. It's going back to the roots. A team that I think was a swing and miss with these new uniforms is the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, come on. Have you looked at these things? They look like the Mean Machine uniforms from The Longest Yard. They might as well had Adam Sandler go out and model in them. The black to red transition just doesn't look very good on a uniform. The one thing I do like about these uniforms, however, is the new helmet. Instead of the glossy black look, they decided to move to a matte black look, and they decided to make the logo on the helmet a little bigger, a nice touch, and the throwback unis for the Falcons are still a great, classic, clean look. If I was a Falcons fan, I would want that to be my home uniform, because these other ones just are not doing it for me. Another team that decided to go into a new direction with their uniforms is the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers last year decided to make the powder blues their primary home uniforms, and in these new updated unis, they decided to go all out with the powder blue. The one thing I don't like from the Chargers' new uniforms are the yellow pants. I think they could get rid of those because they already have other options at pants. The white pants are a beautiful look with the powder blue uniform, and the all-white away uniform for the Chargers are some of the cleanest looking uniforms in the league right now. A team that did go back, not really a new uniform, but just bringing back an old look for a new time, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to get into offseason moves later, the Buccaneers making some of the biggest splashes this year, but let's talk about their unis. The Buccaneers going back to their look of the 2000s, the red uniforms with the little orange outline in the numbers, the pewter gray, a very good look. I'm not sure why they got rid of these uniforms in the first place, but the all-whites are also a excellent looking uniform. They are very clean, very straight to the point, and their new alternate, the all pewter gray ones, are very, very nice looking, and I think Tom Brady's going to look pretty good in these threads, and he's probably excited to put them on too. Speaking of Tom Brady's old team, the Patriots have also decided to update their look. They decided to make their color rush uniform the dark all navy blue uniform, their main home uniform, but they slightly tweaked the numbers. To be honest, I preferred their old home uniforms, and their away uniforms I'm also not a fan of. Just kind of looks like a low-budget college uniform, and I expected more from the Patriots. One uniform that we have not gotten yet is the new Rams uniforms, and those should be coming very, very soon, perhaps tomorrow, because the draft is tomorrow, and we'll see what kind of uniforms the Rams are going to be sporting. Probably going to be the gold and royal blue look. And a bonus uniform. As a Colts fan, I need to talk about them. They slightly updated their uniform. Not a big change. They really just changed the numbers to look like their color rush numbers. But I do like the look of the Colts. It's a little bit cleaner. But one thing I wish the Colts would change on their uniforms as a whole is make the face masks blue or all white. The gray is just kind of an old, outdated look, and if they made it all white or all blue, I think it'd make the uniforms look that much cleaner. Now we'll move on to a lot of the moves of this offseason. With COVID-19 pandemic just running amok in America, the sports news has been pretty dead, but the NFL has been saving us with all of this crazy stuff happening in the offseason. One of the biggest splashes to this NFL offseason was obviously Tom Brady leaving the Patriots after nearly 20 years and going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a move many saw as a big shock. But Brady's ready to bring it on, and he's bringing some old support with him. Yesterday, Rob Gronkowski came out of retirement and requested a trade to the Buccaneers, and that's exactly what happened. So Gronk and Brady reunited in Tampa Bay, so that should be very exciting to watch. Another big move was the Texans self-imploding, possibly. They traded away DeAndre Hopkins, one of, if not the best receiver in the league, to the Arizona Cardinals. And Cardinal fans have to be ecstatic about this. Kyler is getting an incredible weapon. Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins can be a very good connection that we're going to be seeing for years to come. Many thought we would be seeing Deshaun Watson to Hopkins for years to come, but I guess Bill O'Brien had different ideas. So now DeAndre Hopkins is an Arizona Cardinal. That is one of the biggest moves so far. Moving along, Phillip Rivers. After all those years in San Diego and LA, he decided to move on, and his new home is Indianapolis. I think this move could honestly be one of the most impactful moves of the offseason. The Colts have a very, very solid squad. They traded their 13th overall pick for DeForest Buckner, the all-pro defensive tackle from the 49ers, and that just solidifies that Indy defense. The Indy defense is very young. They also added ex-all-pro Xavier Rhodes, who's on a one-year prove-it deal, but he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he could ball out this year. But Phillip Rivers being on this Colts team, the Colts are going to go as far as Phillip Rivers takes them. Now Phillip Rivers has one of the best offensive lines in the league. Question marks at receiver, but the draft could really change things for Indy in that department. But yeah, Rivers, it could be very exciting to see what he could do with this team. Some people say that this was not a good signing for the Colts because Rivers struggled last season throwing 20 interceptions, but he did have a bottom 5 offensive line in Los Angeles. And now in Indianapolis, he's going to have a top 5 offensive line, so time is not going to be a problem in the pocket for him. He's going to be able to sit in the pocket, get his reads, and sling it down the field because that's why they signed Phillip Rivers. Jacoby Brissett was a solid quarterback, but in the NFL, solid doesn't win you much. Brissett was a very conservative quarterback who really didn't take many risks down the field, but did not turn the ball over much. Rivers, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite of that. Rivers is a gunslinger. He's going to let it loose. He's going to go for the big play, and there is going to be a lot of turnovers that come with that. But another reason a lot of his turnovers happened is because he did not have time to make his reads. He had to force a lot of throws, but that's not going to be a problem in Indianapolis. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Rivers at about 30 touchdown passes or so, hovering just under 15 interceptions. A very solid season. And like I said, in the playoffs, if Indy makes it, which I think they have a very good shot at making it, I think that the Colts are only going to go as far as Rivers takes them. Who knows? Rivers could have a Peyton Manning 2013 type year where just a new change of scenery and he's just going to go off and just light up the record books. Or this year could really show that Rivers is declining and maybe he does have to hang up the cleats soon, but we're going to get those answers in this upcoming NFL season. Another significant move that is a low-risk, high-reward signing is the Falcons signing Todd Gurley. Gurley got released by the Rams in a shock to many, and the Falcons were quick to pick him up. Gurley's returning back to Georgia on a 1-year deal, but this deal could be the best thing to happen to the Falcons. If Gurley is able to stay healthy and shows glimpses of his early self, this Falcons offense is going to be scary. Matt Ryan, always a consistent quarterback. The Falcons receiving core is some of the best in the league, led by Julio Jones and Todd Gurley in the mix to that. It's going to make the Falcons a potentially scary team. The whole NFC South is going to be pretty scary. You got Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Teddy Bridgewater on the Panthers now, another big free agent signing. And this could be a very solid division, top to bottom. As a football fan, who's not salivating at the thought of Brady versus Brees 2 times a year? That's going to be very exciting. And this NFL season just can't come soon enough. Hopefully it starts on time. We'll have to see. If it doesn't start with any fans in the stands, so be it, because we need our football. Now in the last segment, we will be talking about the NFL draft. Like I said, draft tomorrow, and one of the biggest surprises has been spoiled. The Cincinnati Bengals have announced that they will take Joe Burrow with the first overall pick. And that doesn't really come to a surprise to many, but we were preparing for some chaos and possible trades, but we're not going to have to worry about that anymore. So with the number 1 pick already a lock, number 2 I think should be a lock too. I think Washington has to take Chase Young. They would be making a very big mistake if they don't. Chase Young could be what Nick Bosa was last year, and Nick Bosa has already solidified himself as one of the best defensive players in the league as a rookie. Chase Young could do the same thing, so Washington has to take him. But after that, this draft is anybody's guess. I think that chaos is going to happen. Detroit openly shopping that 3rd pick, or they could take Jeffrey Okudah out of Ohio State, but we'll have to see there. Are the Chargers going to trade up? Is Miami going to trade up? Who's taking Tua? Who's taking Herbert? It's going to be a very exciting draft. The receivers in this draft, too, are just absolutely insane. Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, Denzel Mims, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins. A lot of great options in this draft for many teams that need receivers. And even in the second round, teams are going to be getting some gems of receivers because that's how deep this draft class is. Quarterback situation is going to be very interesting because after Burrow, Tua, and Herbert, and like I said, Herbert and Tua, question marks on when they're going to go, question marks for the rest of the draft. You got guys like Jordan Love, Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, and no one really knows where these guys are going to go. I think that most of these guys are going to have to be projects. They're going to have to sit a year and develop. A lot of these quarterbacks in this draft I don't think are capable of going out as a rookie and balling out. Jalen Hurts, another name I forgot to mention. He's going to have to sit for about a year or two. But Eason, Love, Hurts, all these guys, if they sit a year or two, they could be very, very good NFL players. Well, that's going to be all for episode 1 of the All Football Podcast. Once again, my name is David Medina, and expect episode 2 very soon. Episode 2 will come about 2 days after the draft concludes, and we'll be talking and recapping all the surprising picks and potential future stars. So, like always, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for listening.